So twice a year, well maybe even more than that if I can get away with it, I like to talk about my Dharma practice in the forest. And the last time I talked about my Dharma practice in the forest, it was in June. And a lot has happened since then. One of the BBCs that I did, I talked a little bit about the qualities that I've been aspiring and slowly developing in response to my role as the kind of forest supervisor here at the Abbey. So I had these wonderful, and they're wonderful qualities to have, not only for the forest, but just for life in general, is cultivating collaboration, cooperation. Of course, living in community, some of these qualities are essentially important. Communication, which includes also being a good listener, mindfulness, and a sensitivity to the capacity of others. So these are some of the qualities that I shared back in June when I talked about my role as the Abbey Forest Manager here and the Offering Service Coordinator. And so I was thinking a little bit more as the summer project unfolded with a lot of twists and turns and some unforeseeable changes. There were a few things that came into view for other qualities that I also have the opportunity to cultivate being up there. And one of the BBCs the one that I shared in May is that we had this huge project up there in the back 40 of the property that was going to require a contractor, a professional person to do it because we were just a little bit in over our heads as far as resources and skill and accessibility. And we had somebody lined up, and I talked a little bit about the different foresters who've been here from the state to help and support us. And as the summer went on, the first contractor that we had hired, his crew chose to last only about 5 hours and decided that the site was far too difficult, that they weren't getting paid enough. It was going to take a whole lot longer than their boss thought it would. So we kind of had to go back to the drawing board. So one of the first things that I had to look at right there is a little bit of flexibility. And a mind that generally my mind I've been working hard on being flexible. I've been working hard on being a little bit more open and easygoing when things don't go the way that I want. And so when this whole long process of finally getting somebody up there that came highly recommended with all the skill and the equipment, and then to have it not even get started, I got to look at my my fortitude, first of all, because I really wanted this to proceed, and I think the community was very excited about it, and to have it not even get started due to the difficulty of the site, and also the flexibility and the open-mindedness. Because one of the things that I have come to understand about my mind, and that the Dharma has really helped me, whether it's the short-term goals that we have here at the Abbey or the long-term goal of awakening, is that the goal is very important to keep in sight of at all times. But what becomes more valuable is the process. And what I've learned this past summer is we've got this goal to take care of the forest, the health and the disease and the fire safety and the wildlife habitat. But along the way there are these wonderful opportunities to cultivate my good heart and to develop bodhicitta and to develop some of these qualities of clear communication and collaboration and fortitude and flexibility. And that this summer I got to be more in sync with, until I get to that goal, what other part of my practice can I really share, that I can really grow. And so this summer became a lot about relationship. It became a relationship. It became a practice about the people who come here to try to support us. If things don't go the way that I think they do, what else is there in that experience that I can learn? And one of the things that I have been able to grow in my own mind is my gratitude and my appreciation for people who probably up until a few years ago I didn't particularly care for. These are the people who go into the forest and they take down trees and they bring up the big equipment and they kind of smash things up and tear things down and roll over things, and I had quite a bias around them. And so I had a stereotype going on about people who work in the forest, the loggers, the lumber industry, the timber industry. Not to say that there are particular forestry practices that are not very conducive to the land. But what I found out this past year is that there are people who want to support forest landowners like the Abbey that are remarkably wise, generous, kind human beings who happen to work large pieces of equipment and take down trees. And so in the process of trying to find someone who could do this site, who would be able to fit within the budget and would be able to fulfill the prescription and the objectives, is that it required me and a number of members of the community to go outside the Abbey and to go looking for how to make that happen. And in the process of that, despite the apparent setbacks and obstacles and frustrations and hindrances along the way, in the process we got to connect to, first of all, somebody who is remarkable in his talents in the forest, but it got me connected to a whole world of forestry work that is filled with people who have a passion about the earth, that have a passion about how to take care of the forest. And being an extreme environmentalist that I've been most of my life is like, leave it alone, don't touch it, let it stay where it is, don't do anything, and Mother Nature will take care of itself, is that I have found, particularly this summer, that perspective in certain circumstances does not hold very well. Humanity has intervened and interrupted the natural process that Mother Nature would have been able to do to take care of things. Leave them alone and she'll take care of them. And now we've got ourselves in quite a difficult situation. So I have learned to be open-minded. I have learned to appreciate the quality and the skills of others that prior to very recently I held, at times, I will be honest, in contempt. That they were trashing the place and that they were not securing a long-term health of our forests. And this summer, with the state and with this particular group of this particular company, I have learned that in this large world of forestry, there are people who are sensitive and thoughtful and passionate about the long-term sustainability of our forests, their health, its the safety of the people who live in the forest, the ones who take care of it, the ones who, all aspects of it. And it has really provided me, I've really grown my gratitude and my appreciation for their knowledge and their expertise. Not to say that we agree a lot of levels, and to see my mind begin to understand that I don't have to agree with everything that somebody says to be able to collaborate and cooperate and to participate with them in the long-term goals that we have at the Abbey here as far as forest health. And so, and I'm really happy about that. One of the things that I have found that Dharma practice has been great about is that it's breaking a very, very narrow view of how I think the world operates. And it is really helping me to look at my stereotypes. It's really helping me to look at my biases and my judgmental mind, which really closes me down on the opportunity to really experience other people's wisdom and other people's great compassion and expertise. So the site got, well, I'll talk about that another time. Anyway, for the growing qualities, due to the kindness of others and to my Dharma practice, and to my wonderful, kind teacher who already has this open-mindedness and has this ability to flex and to look at things in a much, much bigger view. So it's been really a very helpful, fruitful time this year, being outside in the forest and learning a lot about my mind, appreciating the capacity of other people's minds, and to really see that we're all kind of wanting to take care of this lovely earth somewhat paralleling, and I really appreciate that.